Is art really on life support?
Illustrations by me.
I was just on YouTube and I was just looking for some videos for art to inspire me, maybe something to give me a little bit of encouragement. I don't go looking for these things. They come to me. They push them in front of me. They're like, oh, this'll piss him off. And they put it right in front of me. That's what they do. So I came across this video where this guy's talking about the death of art. I'm going to try and sum this up. He basically said, at first when people did art, they did it for religious purposes. And he showed cave paintings. I thought that was weird because it was like people killing an animal so they can eat food. And then he's like, oh, mostly for religious purposes. That's the first thing he said. And they said, it brought people together. It was like a sense of community. They came together in the community because they had a common goal, a common idea that they were believing in this thing. Then as people moved away from religion for some reason, that he thinks that happened, that all of a sudden they became nationalists, and all of a sudden it was like a nationalist thing, so you made art that depicts your nationalism, and that's how you get together, and that was very popular in places like France and the US and things like that. But now he says, since the internet connects us, that we realize we may have something more in common with someone on the other side of the world more than we do our very own neighbor, and so now it's not nationalism anymore. Now it's just about, well, wait a minute, what do we make the art about now? So then we started to tackle some heavy questions, and it was abstract art, and it was, art that explains art, that identifies art, that questions art itself. By the way, one of this person's favorite pieces is that stupid urinal it's just a regular urinal out of a bathroom that was stuck somewhere, and they said, oh, this is art. And everybody questioned, well, could it be art? These people are morons. This is not what you question. It's a urinal. That's what we use it for. If someone was in the middle of that art gallery and used it for a urinal, I would not fault them. But now we have no more art to make any art about. So it's pointless now. We now move to creepy art, things that look creepy. And that brings me to the subject of the day. I'm going to do a creepy art piece because he said we all have feelings of dread, and this creepy art unites us because we're all dreadful of the future. I'm going to give you my opinion about this whole thing in a drawing, and you're going to see the dread in my drawing, and it's going to unite us because we're all miserable people. That's basically what he's saying. Okay, so let's get into it. So basically, this creepy art, after that is the end of art. That's what he's really saying. And he said there's someone else that did a talk on this, and you should go watch his video because he's basically explaining the end of all art completely. This is absolutely nonsensical, and it's an irrational way to look at art in any sense of the word. You think, let's just go back to some of the things he said. You think people aren't clinging to their beliefs or their religions more than ever? No matter what form that takes on, they are. It doesn't matter what you believe or what you think you don't believe. You're clinging to that belief. So, and then you think nationalism and pride has gone extinct? Do you have any idea what's going on in all media in all of the world? They're split down the middle. Everybody's losing their damn minds because it's all about they think their system for their country is the best, and then this person thinks, no, we got to change this system to meet the best system, and it's all about that. Why? Because they're taking pride in their country. That's what happens. Then you think abstract art says nothing and isn't good enough to develop a feeling of community around? Are you living in a bubble? What the hell is wrong with this person? Now, he speaks softly and with soft music in the background, kind of like when you hear someone on the History Channel and they're saying something ridiculous that doesn't make any logical sense, like, we have evidence that people developed from large rocks that were soaked in alien sweat while it dripped onto ferns while they built the pyramids. You donkey piece of the whole, you know what I'm talking about. This is garbage. It's why The younger generations coming up feel like art isn't a study worth practicing. This moron is insulting you. You right now listening to this video. He's insulting you and saying you're not a community anymore. And it gets worse. He's insulting a huge audience that he has. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of artists who are subscribed to his channel. If that is really his opinion, he has no idea what's going on with the world right now. I've never seen so many artists at any time, but they're all the people who were into art, because the younger generation coming up is being discouraged even more than I was discouraged when I was growing up to not do art. That's why I stopped. I was in high school. I go to see a guidance counselor about your career counseling, and they say, okay, what kind of colleges do you want to apply to? And I said, well, I want to be an artist. No, you don't want to do that. There's no money in that. Well, you should go talk to your family and tell them you want to be an artist. And you talk to your family, and they're like, hey, you should really do something that makes some money. So, I mean, people are discouraged with back then, but now they're discouraged even more. But more now, there's more opportunity than ever for an artist right now. You can talk to, I have people I talk to on this channel from the other side of the world that watch these videos, and we talk about art and we build a community around it. There's people as close as my backyard almost that watch this channel, and then there's people across all the way on the other side of the world, and we build a community around art. It's more than ever do you have that opportunity. And it's strange because every time I talk to someone my age or older or a little bit younger, not real young, but a little bit younger, I talk to them, they just happen to be an artist. Now, they don't call themselves an artist. They say, oh, I like to draw, or I have a sketchbook or whatever. Let me tell you something. We're just getting started. I will give him credit for one thing in particular, and that's my art specifically is definitely not about anything other than looking interesting. That's it. That's all my art says. But art doesn't need to say a damn thing for people to enjoy it and come together and talk about it. He thinks in his mind, he reminds me of one of those people who thinks that every piece of art you create should have a movie about it. And then people can say, hey, did you see the movie? And they say, yeah, but it was anything like the painting. The painting was better. The movie left so many things out. Now, I love to look at art. So long as someone doesn't have to make me read a Stephen King-sized novel to understand what it's about. It's not about if people should really look inside themselves to understand. They should be talking or listening, or it's just a tree. It may look nice, but it's just a damn tree. Okay, I'm starting to get a little bit angry here. I'm going to be done with this moron, but you understand what I'm saying. Art isn't dead. People who push this narrative on, this is what actually makes me upset about it. It doesn't make me upset that he's not insulting me. I don't have an ego. He can say whatever he wants about me. But the thing is, he's discouraging artists that are starting to come up that are saying, oh, do I still have a future in art? And like, no, you don't. People already have to deal with the AI nonsense garbage, and people are like, oh, you're not going to have to do art anymore because we're going to have this machine do it. No, art is created by people. And discouraging people who are trying to express themselves, that's what gets to me. That's what bothers me. You let people do their art. It's always going to be necessary. It's always going to be a way that we communicate. Even if it's something you do mostly for yourself, to help yourself, it's still going to be there. It's still going to be something you do just for you. Just like it's something that I do to communicate with people that are halfway across the world, most of the way across the world, all the way across the world, and even right next door. So that's what it is. You just need to understand that it's not going anywhere. Art is never going to go anywhere. Listen, look back when there was digital art. All of a sudden people thought, oh, no one's ever going to do regular art anymore, traditional art with traditional materials, because now there's digital art. Guess what? People do both. There are digital artists who are great. That's what they do. That's what they love doing. And there are still hundreds and thousands and millions of people who use regular art supplies. All kids in the world use crayons, and they use whatever, the Crayola markers and whatever. And then artists, as they get older, they use better and better products, and they still use traditional stuff. It didn't destroy traditional art just because there are digital artists. There are some people who do both. I personally, I've done some digital art, It's not my favorite. I feel like, and this is just my own personal opinion, but I feel like this is a side rant here. So this is something to the side. I've done the art before. I might, if I have a copy of one that I did, it's a story that I was writing about at this thing, and I drew it just to draw it, to have an idea in my head of what it looked like, and then I was continuing the story. I never released it anywhere. I never finished it, but anyway, that happens to be a theme with me with writing stories. I never finished them, but anyway, I wanted to get an idea of this thing, so I did this thing. I did it digitally and created it, and it was fine, but it's constant draw a line, erase, draw a line, erase, draw a line, erase. That's all you do the whole time and if you ever watch a digital artist on YouTube or wherever, watch their videos. That's all they do all the time. Draw a line, erase, draw a line, erase, draw a line, erase. That drives me insane. I like to put the line on the page and then deal with it. That's where the line is, and I have to figure out what to do with it to make it look interesting. That's just how I like to do things, but that's the joy I get out of it. If you like doing digital art, do the digital art. There's nothing wrong with it. You do whatever you need to do. It's art, and you're going to do it, and you're going to communicate with it. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful experience. But this moron who says, oh, that's it, we're basically done doing art, there's nothing else to do. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You know, that's like someone saying, oh, we don't have anything to explore on this world. You have plenty. There's rainforest, there's the depths of the sea, we have no idea what's even under the surface of this planet. We guess, and that's a whole nother story. We guess. We're like, oh, well, if this makes sense that this would be under the ground, because then the things on top of the ground would act this way. So we assume that, and it makes sense in our models, so that's what we say. But we've never really gone that deep in the ground. We've only gone a very small distance compared to all the way to the center of the planet. Just a very small distance. We just can't get any deeper. And that's it. We can't go anymore. So we're guessing all the rest of the way. We have no idea. And that's like saying, oh, we should just stop trying. That's it. We're done here. We can't, that's it. We should stop drilling. Don't figure out what's beneath, and don't go into that rainforest, even though we discover thousands of new species every year of different animals and plants and all this other stuff that we never even knew existed. It's in our backyard. We didn't even know it was there. We have animals that they say have been extinct for millions of years. I love when they say that. But then you turn around and like, oh, we found 3 of them running around over here in this weird rainforest area. But we didn't know that they were there. But they are there. So there they are. But there's so much here that we have to discover. Let me tell you something else. Here's another complete side rant. That Tyson guy, that Neil deGrasse Tyson guy, I don't know I don't have a problem with him personally. I'm just saying some of the stuff he says, for being the smartest man alive or whatever he claims he is, the best physicist, the smartest physicist in the world, some of the things he comes up with is dumb. Like when he said he was on a podcast, it could have been the Joe Rogan, it could have been one of the other ones he was on, like several. All of a sudden now, as soon as Stephen Hawking passed away, he just decided to come on the stage and just steal the world. He's talking at every podcast, he's talking on every news station, every radio station that still exists that wants to talk to him. But anyway, he said, there was this cave, and being the people, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the people who say that we shouldn't explore other planets see if we can live on them, that we shouldn't do that because we don't even know what we still have here. We don't even know what's at the depths of the sea and all that kind of stuff. And he says, that's like someone saying, like having a little, now I'm not saying he's wrong. That's an opinion that he has. That's fine. I have no problem with someone's opinion of that. You think we should do that instead of finishing exploring here or whatever? That's fine. I have no problem with that. Just do whatever you want to do. But here's the thing. He made the dumbest reference. And for someone who's being so smart, this is stupid. So he said, well, it's like living in a cave. And then you have these little kids who run to the edge of the cave. These little children of these cave people run to the edge of the cave and they say, Oh, look out there. See all the grass and the fruit and the berries and the food's right there. And then the adults come over and put their hands around them and say, no, 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 you should go back. We haven't finished exploring this cave yet. Let's see what's in here before we go get this stuff out there. Now, let me tell you why that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Number one, stepping 5 feet outside of a cave to grab some berries that you can eat, that you don't even know if you can eat, by the way, but doing that is a lot different than traveling lifetimes to get to another planet that we may be able to live on one day if we terraform it properly. That's a completely different thing. It's not even, you can't even relate to that. Someone could run out of a cave, grab a handful of berries, and come back in. That's very quick, easy, and whatever. But how about the fact that if those kids leave that cave to go get those berries, there could be something right outside the cave that eats them. That's a very real threat. How about the fact that there's so much bacteria and fungus and everything else out there, viruses that they've never encountered, that if they do go out there and touch something, they could just end up gone. That's it. That's the end of that. So you should instead send them out. That's just a dumb example. He came up with the dumbest example. And if you're in a cave anywhere in your life, if you ever get stranded somewhere, you go in a cave, you better know what's on the other side of that cave, because if there's something in there sleeping and you end up saying, oh, I'm going to just make myself right at home, and you better explore the cave, because something can come out of there and you're done. So, and if you just go right outside the cave, then something can come right along with you as you exit the cave, and then you're done again. It's just a dumb example. I don't know where he came up with that. Anyway, I don't even remember what I was talking about. That's a side thing. It's just dumb. Okay, so the moral of this whole story is do not give up on art. Don't think that art is over. If you're just starting as an artist or you're just getting back into art, you keep going. I want to encourage you to do everything you can to create more art, and more, as much as you possibly can, that you're willing to create, because that's important. To me, it's important. I consider it something that's important. There's no end to art. And what you create, even it might be in the style of someone else, but the lines you put down on the page are yours. No one else will ever create that. And you probably could never create that again. Unless you were doing like photorealism and then you did the exact same thing. But even then, the lines would be a little different. So I want to encourage you to keep going with art, keep creating things. It's not a dead end. People will still join together over art that they love. They'll talk about it, we'll discuss it, we'll have a great time. We'll forget some of the nonsense that we have to deal with every single day from these idiots. And instead, we'll talk about the art that we love to talk about. Just for a little while, just a little break, just a little ease in there. Alright, so thumb up the video if you think this guy is a moron, you're not going to listen to him, instead you're going to create your art and just keep moving forward. And you're not going to listen to all these morons out there that tell you that it's the end of art, there's nothing left to create. If you didn't create something that you want to create, there's nothing left. There is that one thing that you want to create, and you just keep going. Alright, that's about it for me. I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next one.